What happens to your nervous system in each phase of narcissistic abuse? Let's start with the spotting phase. You might not remember when it began, but your body did. Before anything was said or promised, your nervous system was already paying attention. Something felt different, charged, unsettling. Not necessarily dangerous, necessarily, but important. This was your body entering anticipation. Not excitement, not joy, hyper-vigilant curiosity. In input, we call this your anticipatory stress reflex, ASR2. It activates when someone enters your life who feels symbolically significant, not because of who they are, but because of who they reflect. Often, they mirror the emotional absence or longing you've carried since childhood. Your nervous system, shaped by early gaps or confusion, subtly adjusts. You become more alert, not because you're broken, but because you're prepared. You've learned to track danger that wears the mask of interest. The trauma response here is often flight, not always physically, but psychologically. You may begin to move away from yourself, distancing your inner truth in order to connect with something outside. You may feel pulled, even magnetized, but it's not always safe. It's an audition, not an invitation. The auditioning phase. Now the bond is forming, or seems to be. You're being seen. They notice the details, they ask the questions, they echo your thoughts. It feels mutual, but something in you begins to shift. You start to perform, not dramatically, but subtly. You emphasize certain qualities, soften others, adapt to their rhythm. Not because you're being manipulative, but because something inside you hopes, maybe this time, I'll be chosen for who I could be. This is the fawn response in motion. It's the nervous system trying to preserve safety through adaptation. You become the version of you that won't be left. In input, this is still ASR2, deepening. The anticipatory self is fully activated. It's not that you're lying, you're trying to hold on to something you don't want to lose, trying to become what you wish someone had once loved in you. This phase isn't fake, it's fragile, and it comes at a cost. The idealization phase. This is the high. You're seen, cherished, understood, or so it seems. They reflect your light back to you, amplify it. You may feel euphoric or strangely still. You will feel chosen. But under the surface, something else begins to stir. This is where ASR1 enters, the annihilatory stress reflex. This is part of the nervous system formed in earliest infancy. The place where we store the terror of not being met, held, or known. Being idealized by someone who is emotionally inconsistent or fragmented doesn't feel safe to that inner child. It feels dangerous. It feels like a trap. The nervous system freezes, not because you're indifferent, but because you're overwhelmed. You disassociate into the fantasy. You start to lose sight of where you end and they begin. It may feel like intimacy, but it's fusion, and it is bi-directional object acquisition. You aren't being held, you are both mirroring each other, and without anchoring, that reflection can vanish. You begin to fear what will happen if it does. The devaluation phase. You sense it before it's named. They pull back, become distant, colder. Suddenly you're not quite right. You say the wrong thing. You laugh at the wrong moment. Their eyes don't see you in the same way anymore. So you try harder. You re-audition. You explain. You reshape. You hope it's just a phase. ASR2 spikes again. Your anticipatory self begins searching frantically. But something new enters now. ASR3. This is what MPIT calls the final gate, the moment the psyche begins to prepare for collapse. You may feel moments of anger, panic, and confusion, but they don't come out cleanly. You may try to speak your truth, but it gets tangled in shame. You second guess everything. You question whether it's your fault. This isn't just emotional stress, it's symbolic stress. Your sense of self is beginning to fragment. You're no longer sure which version of you they want or which one you are. The discard phase. This is the moment everything falls. Whether they ghost, betray, humiliate, or silently vanish, something inside you shatters. Not just your heart, your structure. In MPID, this is the full activation of ASR 1, 2, and 3. The whole system collapses inward. The child self, ASR 1, experiences annihilation. The adult self, ASR 2, continues searching, fawning, and hoping. The psyche, ASR 3, locks down, closing the gate to integration. This is not just grief, it's derealization, depersonalization. It is an exile. You may feel frozen, unable to move, think, or cry at times. You may find yourself looping, replaying every moment, trying to solve the loss. You may feel like you never existed, or that you only existed because of them. But please hear this. What's happening is not madness, it's not weakness, and it's not your fault. It is a neurosymbolic collapse, a trauma to the very structure of selfhood, and it is survivable. What MPID offers? The MPID framework was built to name this collapse, not just clinically, but symbolically, to show you what your body and psyche already knew, to map the invisible so that you don't stay in the dark, so that you don't blame yourself, so that you can begin to come back to life as you really are. You're not alone, you're not broken, and you are definitely not beyond repair. You collapsed because you mattered, and now it's time to reclaim your center. Peace out. Loads of love.